our guest here when the show starts in about 15 seconds, but give the listening public and the viewing public a tease of who you've welcomed to the show, Keith Smith.
Yeah, two Greene County rock stars. I actually brought my green pen for the Greene County discussion. So to my right, I got Jim Friedel, and I'll let Jim introduce himself and what he does here in a little bit. And then I've got Dale Herring, and we'll let him introduce himself. But they're rock stars from Greene County, and they kind of tell them who they are and what they're doing and all that fun stuff here in about a minute. But looking at Dale, I believe he's about ready to start trouble.
No, I'm just saying rock stars. I haven't heard rock stars before, so I'm not used to that term, especially, I like that term, though.
Just trying to make you feel better.
I appreciate that.
I call them stakeholders. I like rock stars. Rock stars is better, Keith.
Well, how long have we known each other, Dale? Oh, God.
Geez, probably
4 or 5 years, 6
probably
years?
longer than that, because you've been part of TJPDC for quite some time, and we
Yeah.
were working with TJPDC for the broadband initiative back in 2010.
I've been in the commission, Planning District Commission,
For a while now.
11 years, I think.
Yeah, so we were probably working together as part of that. So our paths probably crossed.
We'll leave it at that.
Good.
Let's save all this good stuff for the show when it starts. Judah Woodcower, we can rock and roll when you're ready. Guys, good Friday morning. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith here on the I Love Seville Network. Thank you kindly for joining us. Folks, we have a Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Greene County, Commonwealth, Central Virginia, country, worldwide, and family-wide audience here on Real Talk with Keith Smith.
A little bit of Flavanna. You missed the Flavanna part.
In-studio guest here on Real Talk. I'll let Keith Smith spill the beans, and if we want to put her on the spot,
No.
we can turn the camera around and put you on the show.
No. We forgot to talk about this in the pre-production meeting. We were not supposed to do this.
Okay.
I got missed.
Good morning, Keith. Welcome to the show, and you've got two buddies with you that I very much enjoyed getting to know in the green room before the show started.
For a whole in the green. Oh,
the green
got the green room. Yeah. So today's all about Greene County. I've been excited about doing this. So on the next couple of Fridays past, and the ones coming up, we're bringing some stakeholders, doing stakeholder roundtables, talking about what's going on in Greene County, a little bit of land use, and who knows what the feed throws at us. We'll have a ton of fun. So I'll let you do the introduction, sir.
Gentlemen, why don't we start with Dale? You got a lot of folks watching you right now. Dale, introduce yourself to everybody watching the show.
Sure, no worries. Dale Herring. I'm the at-large supervisor for the County of Greene, full-time Director of Technology for Greene County Public Schools. And thanks for having us, sir. I appreciate the invite.
It's an absolute pleasure. Your second time.
It is.
On
First time real, though, right?
First time real. So the first time we actually had COVID, and we were locked down, and I think, if I remember correctly, at that meeting or that broadcast, we had bad news. We had received notification right before we went on air of our first COVID-related death.
That's right.
That's right.
And so I'm very happy to be here. It's a lot different environment today. We still have COVID, but it's a different situation.
We're going to have some exciting stuff to talk about with Greene County, hopefully.
Yeah, so it's a lot different than it was 2 years ago. Cool. So thanks for having me.
Jim, show is yours, sir.
I'm Jim Friedel, and I am currently the Planning Director and Zoning Administrator for Greene County.
Let's tell everybody what a zoning director and a planning director, what they do.
So zoning, you enforce the regulations, the county ordinances that were written by the Board of Supervisors. So in Greene County, we have a set of rules when you are doing land development or land use that you have to follow. So if you're in a business district, there's a certain set of criteria, residential district, farming, and certain land uses are allowed in each category, and we enforce those regulations. In Greene, we like to be proudful about the attitude that we have. We try not to be enforcers, we try and be partners. So we have laws, and the zoning office has to enforce those laws, but in Greene County, our attitude is help people achieve their dreams while also following the law, not to throw up roadblocks to stop people from getting what they want.
So
Good answer.
on Wednesday, I did a presentation at the Virginia Governor's Housing Conference, or Housing X as they called it, and I titled it a housing affordability instead of affordable housing on the end of it. But I talk about my 4 pillars, which if folks have watched and seen the show, I do this regularly. And the key to it is relationship. So I think you're more in the relationship building business, even though you have to enforce certain rules and regulations. But, you know, there is this relationship, and it kind of starts with you, because you're the connector between me as the private sector, Dale as the elected official, and Jerry who's the public. It kind of funnels all through you. Is that correct?
Correct. And I will like to make the distinction. Our attitude comes from the Board of Supervisors.
Got it.
The Board of Supervisors in Greene for years has expressed that same attitude. People have property rights. They have the right to exercise those, and we're here to help them follow the law to reach those goals.
So Dale, I've been asking everybody that's coming in, elected officials coming in, you know, what's the state of Greene County? You know, like State of the Union. What's the state of Greene County? How we're doing? What's new stuff's going on? But you know, what's the state of the health of Greene County right now?
I think we're doing well. I mean, Jim may agree or disagree as to his position, but I think we're doing great. We've got a lot of growth coming into Greene County.
Yeah.
The numbers are up. I looked at some of the numbers from the CAR report back this past April, just recently released. I think we're doing okay. We've got a lot of projects coming online in the next 2 years. We've got a lot of improvements going on to our highway system, which should decrease the amount of traffic that's coming into play. So yeah, compared to where we were 2 years ago, right, we shut down for COVID. Right now, things, they were booming then as well, but I think we're on the upswing. I think things are looking good. Even the sales tax was low in Greene County in the free enterprise report. If I remember correctly, we were like 5%.
Neil Williamson.
Yeah, close to 5%. But we still had a growth. If you look at an industry we have in Greene, a lot of our industry is grocery stores and pharmacies and gas stations. A lot of those industries did not shut down during COVID, and we're still showing an increase after everything else opened up. So to me, I think things all look positive.
Well, I kind of want to focus a little bit on that because Greene County, and I'm going to give you up to the minute stats. You know, the CAR data is interesting, but
Right.
it's kind of already old
When they report it.
in this particular market on the end of it. So just so that you know, as it stands right now, your median sales price in Greene County, this is single-family detached, right, is $345,000.
Okay.
You've sold so far 194 units. Put that in perspective. 20 years ago, you sold 80 in 2019. That's 20 years. I think I got that right. And it was $153,000, by the way.
And to be honest with you, I think if the inventory is greater, we probably could sell quite a bit more.
Well, that's kind of what we want to talk a little bit, right? We've got an expert here that you see this stuff before it comes in. I know there's stuff you can't talk about because it's not public as yet. But what's kind of in the actual pipeline for Greene County, right? And we're going to talk about water. Hence the word pipeline. There you go, in a few minutes. But from your perspective, what's exciting happening in Greene County that you can share?
There's a lot exciting happening. I'll say just in general, we have a lot of by right development area within our growth area. And the Greene County Board traditionally has been very supportive of projects that meet the growth area. Just for anybody that's not familiar with that, the growth area is the citizens' 20-year plan, comprehensive plan. They defined where they want the more dense growth. And so we've got a lot of people taking advantage of projects in that area, and those projects are by right. They don't have to go through public hearings. But we do have a lot of activity. We have a large development called Creekside. It's a residential PUD. We have the first 2 phases in, which is over 200 homes. We're reviewing those site plans as we speak. We have a very interesting commercial residential work, live, play PUD right near the water tower in Greene County, right below the Sheets. And
It's on 29, right?
Exactly.
Tell us about that.
The first phase is the site plan is in. They're developing 90 townhomes and putting in infrastructure for the commercial area. But it's going to be a town center style development. It's going to have a quadrant with residential, and that transitions to commercial with a line of residential / commercial townhomes, so you can live there, you can work there, you can have an office downstairs, an apartment upstairs. It can be all residential, all commercial.
That's great.
That transitions to retail, restaurants, dining, shopping along the 29 frontage. And then the northern portion of that is to be a commercial campus, a business campus. They refer to it in their marketing as a Google-like campus, but they're marketing now for tenants for that. It's a very exciting thing. It's something where you can park, you can walk. If you live there, you can walk to work, you can walk to restaurants. I live across the highway. I'll be able to go over there, park my car, and just enjoy a walk and commercial opportunities with my family.
You're a biker also. Do you bike in Greene County?
I do. Beautiful place to bike.
How many miles do you usually put in?
Lately, I haven't been putting that many in, but usually I'll do about 60 to 80 miles a week.
There you go.
And then I try
That's
and
legit.
run.
So, Dale, we're talking all about this great project coming up. I'm going to go water as you.
Okay.
Two things I'm probably going to go on. Water and broadband, right? Okay. So we could talk a little bit about that to get folks updated. But just from our perspective, on our side of the table right now, the number one question folks are asking is, do I have broadband, right? So we talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And then from a developer side of it, and before I go see Jim, what's my water and sewer and infrastructure? And you guys are in the middle of something there.
We are. Which one do you want to address first, broadband or water?
You tackle whatever you want to tackle.
All right, well, broadband is going to be an easy one because we won the Valley Grant, of course, partnered with CVEC. And as a matter of fact, we received information today the contract is ready to sign for Greene County.
Good.
So that'll go before the board in June. And so Greene will
So how
have
much money was that?
$2.6 million from our end. And I want to say it's $13 million total for the Greene County. I can't remember exactly. I looked those numbers up. But I know I remember it actually would pass about number of homes here written down somewhere. But now basically 3,500 homes in Greene County, 430 miles of fiber. So what will happen is that will bring broadband to Greene County. And the time frame, of course, within 3 years, 2025, we expect Greene to be complete earlier because Greene is working with CVEC, who is partnered with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. Rappahannock Electric is already doing preliminary work doing the initial fiber runs between their substations. Once that's complete, CVEC will step in, run the fiber, splice the fiber, and then run it to the homes. And they expect that Central Virginia Electric Cooperative customers in Greene will receive fiber to the homes fall of 2022. So this fall, Greene County residents will start seeing some
Are they putting fiber in the ground now, or
CVEC is doing, they're working up in that area. Now, they may not go into the ground. I know in some
they're
areas
doing
they're
switching stations and stuff like that?
But they said that their current customers will have broadband in 2022, the fall of 2022.
Wow.
So that's great. So what's amazing about that, 3 or 4 years ago, like when I ran for office the first time I mentioned broadband, people were saying, the government should be involved. Last time I ran, people were saying the government didn't do enough.
It's funny how that goes.
So right now we'll have broadband, and that will equalize the playing field, but I'm not sure people are ready for what will happen. Businesses, opportunities will increase. A lot of people have reached out about doing at-home businesses. That will increase. Virtual learning for the schools can take place at a greater capacity. And of course, the real estate values will go up when broadband is in place. That's a proven fact. So that's the positive part of broadband. I can go right into water if you want to.
Please.
You're on a roll.
All right.
I know enough.
He's a natural.
I know enough not to interrupt Dale. So
Water's been an issue for Greene for several years. We've been trying to build a reservoir since I first was on the board. In fact, I thought the reservoir would be completed within my first term, to be honest with you. And that was the initial goal. We were working with RSA. We had a dispute, and one of the issues that happened was that RSA really wanted us to turn over all revenue streams and their property for the reservoir, and no public access to the reservoir, and they would fund 50% of the project, which meant all 50% of the project would have to be funded by taxpayers.
and you got nothing.
And we would get nothing in return.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah, and so that was in a meeting, and I can remember looking at it and said, no, that's not going to happen. So later on, things started going south with the relationship between RSA and Greene County. The good news today is that a press release came out yesterday. All three boards, Madison, Orange, and Greene, have approved a resolution, have voted on it, and it passed to allow Greene out of RSA. The RSA board itself, which is 6 members, 2 members from Green, 2 members from Orange, and 2 members from Madison also voted to let Green out of RSA.
Good job.
And the press release came out yesterday with the conditions of that withdrawal. We will receive all assets.
That's news right there. That's
Yeah.
news.
So that was, it should be, it came out
Keep
yesterday.
on going. Tell
Yeah,
us
keep
breaking
going.
news.
We will receive all assets from RSA in Green
So you're going to
County.
keep all your assets?
We keep all the assets, and I'll state this as a politician, so we'll keep all assets that we paid for, and the citizens have already paid for. I think that's important to note. We'll receive some funding on the backside because of the
From?
funding, RSA,
Really?
because we contribute to their revenue stream. And basically it comes down to is we hope that everybody's in agreement, and we'll be out soon. We start the process to look at what's the next step for us. We looked at our resolution or ordinance as far as maintaining our water, sewer, infrastructure. So hopefully within a month at the most, if not, it could be longer, we'll be out. We've been trying to get out quite some time. The goal originally, the past 6 months, has always been June 30th. So that could be a shot in the dark right now, but that's our goal.
So Jim, we sounds like we're going to actually get control of our water system, right?
We got fiber coming.
Got fiber coming. What does this mean in your world?
Well, just
You're about to get really
a
busy.
couple small add-ons there.
I need an assistant.
Green County, in essence, we control our own destiny with water and sewer. And we have several I think over $100,000 of grant opportunities that we're requesting moving forward to help pay for the new infrastructure replacement. Most of the infrastructure in the ground, the new pipes are 40 years old. So there's a lot that needs to be replaced and improved, and we've got plans for all that. Anyone that's a qualified water operator and water engineer, we're looking for good people too.
So are you guys looking to outsource it, or are you going to create your own department for it?
We're looking to create our own department. We may have to outsource part of it to start until we can get a full staff, but we're seeking qualified people and good people. We also are very interested in the current operators at RSA. If any of them wish to stay and remain in their jobs, we'd love to have them.
Well,
And,
today's employment environment, that may be a bit of a struggle. So talk to me a little bit about capacity. In my world, and it's about capacity, right? So how much water capacity you guys going to have, and how much sewer capacity you guys are going to have? Because that kind of equates into homes and businesses and stuff like that.
Sure. Right now, our capacity is 1 million gallons a day.
Water.
Yes, and we're about 65% of that capacity. It's interesting, we were trending about 55% of that capacity, but there's been a COVID bump from all the people staying home,
Sure.
working from home, and it jumped about 10% in the last 2 years, but it's remained steady. So we have a project that's already planned, it's already ready to go, it's shovel-ready. That'll take about 3 years, start to finish, maybe 3 to 4 years to have it completely filled. And that triples or 3.5 times increases our capacity. So we'll be at 3.5 million gallons a day capacity.
Of water. What about sewer?
Sewer, we have many fewer sewer customers. Our treatment plant right now is about 50% capacity. So we have quite a bit of capacity available there, and that was designed so that it could easily be doubled.
Neil Williamson's wondering about fiber on Fredericksburg Road in the fall.
It's come to everybody except the Williamson household.
I had a feeling that.
The fiber, the beginning fiber will start in the south central and
He's gonna get serious.
southwestern part of Greene County, so Simmons Gap Road, Selt Road, the Dike area, and then the Standardsville Power Station, they'll
Right.
spread out from there. The western part of the county has the highest need. Dale talked about that. One of the transformational changes is having internet access allows you so many opportunities. I mean, we're on an internet TV show right now, right?
That's right.
So,
Fiber.
so you've got a huge equity difference between eastern Greene County, where everybody's served with broadband, and western Greene County, that it's about double the median income in the eastern half that it is in the western half.
So we have a ton of folks that actually watch and listen, and some of them are not from the region. So part of what I want to talk about when you kind of do this, when you say Western, you're thinking Standardsville, right? What and that type of area. So
Really, Quinquegee West, just about, no, the whole half of Greene County, from central Greene County west.
And one thing I want to point out too, there are people in the eastern part of the county that have broadband service, but it's very poor service. A lot of users in Greene who live in the Ruckusville area who aren't being served by Comcast and other major providers might only get like 1.3 meg download speeds. So they have access. It's a DSL technology, of course, and it's a very slow, and the further away from substation, the slower the speeds. So, getting back to Neil's point, there are a lot of people in that area who have a connection, but it's nowhere near what it should be.
So one.
Oh, I was just going to say, research in the documents, Neil Williamson can afford a hotspot, so he'll be at the end.
I knew you were going to get that in there soon. I was waiting for you to work that in, that zinger in there. So Jerry and I talk about this all the time on the
Neil's
show.
chuckling.
And we ask our guests all the time, particularly the real estate side of the house, the realtors and the folks in that sphere. So where do you guys, I think I know the answer to this, but where do you guys see the next hotspot? Where is the next Crozet? Where is the next big area in this region? What do you think?
In this region, okay, are you talking about in Greene County or
No,
this region?
no, in our area.
Well, that live, work, play development you
Yeah.
describe is going to be, that's going to boom.
So Jerry and I debate this all the time, and I think you guys are in the top running, but I'm not so sure you're first place. But where else in our footprint do you think the next little boom is going to be?
I'm going to be honest with you, and you may disagree, Jim, I'm not sure. I think, of course, Ruckusville is going to change dramatically in the next 5 to 10 years. With the VDOT workflow coming through, with the developments taking place, the proposals for different businesses that are coming in there, you can see a significant change in Ruckusville. In 5 to 10 years, you won't recognize Ruckusville for what it was today. That's what I told my kids that. But I think Standardsville, to be honest with you, I think small town Standardsville, I think that in 10 years, you're going to see a dramatic shift in Standardsville. It may not be as the quantity you might see, for example, in an Albemarle County area, but
I disagree with you. I think Standardsville's, and that's the reason I threw this question out.
Yeah, they're ripe. Right through there, they're kind of like the unknown gem. Everybody's quiet, it's peaceful. You get the bypass right there. The bypass, when it came through, Standardsville's forgotten for a number of years. They're right there, and I think that once we get the water under Greene County's control, and we have that going, I think Standardsville is ready to grow. And again, it won't be as significant as you see in Ruckusville and type of growth, but it's going to be a significant growth. And I look at places like in Gordonsville or Scottsville, a town type environment that's going to change dramatically over the next 10 years.
Jim, what do you think?
I agree completely. I think Standardsville is an undiscovered gem. There's not many places in the Commonwealth of Virginia where you can have that walkable, compact village feel, where you can live on Main Street, walk down to a restaurant, walk to other commerce, the bank, lawyers, and it just needs some additional housing. There's a lot of by right property in Standardsville, and as the population comes in and businesses come in to serve that population, Standardsville is just a beautiful opportunity for a town. The town's done a lot of work with assistance from the county, with the streetscape projects. The infrastructure's there. It's ready to be a really cool little gem of a town.
So I was part of that because it's the treasurer of the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission. Got too many Thomas Jeffersons in there. on that end of it, I had to actually, because the funding ran through the commission, and I was writing checks. And for the work that you guys did on the streetscape, which was a scary thought that they were allowing me to write checks, but that's a whole different issue. That's a topic for a whole different day. On that end of it, I think the reason I keep on getting stuck, just to pivot a little bit, on the treasurer, because my office is so close to the commissions, and everybody says, let Smith do it, he'll walk and go ahead and sign checks. But those who are in the area or passing through the area should stop in there and do a little walk. The streetscape project that you guys did there, what was that, 10, 12 years ago? Something,
it's beautiful.
Something like that. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I happen to agree with that. I think Standardsville is going to be one of the next top areas, and we've always been discussing Zions Crossroads, right?
Yep.
I think Zions Crossroads is primed.
They are.
For that. I have a feeling at the next commission meeting, we'll be digging a little bit at Tony O'Brien's and side that you'll get water through your county before we do, and we only been doing it for 35 years, so hats off and congratulations to you guys. So, what else excites you about Standardsville, Dale?
Seeing the transformation that's taken place, I grew up in Greene. I went to school there, and I can remember walking over to Standardsville to go to different restaurants, after a football game. Standardsville has kind of been forgotten for a number of years, and I'm seeing it beginning to come back to its roots. I'm seeing that small town feel begin to develop again. I'm beginning to see restaurants and stores begin to open back up. Not a huge quantity, but here and there. I'm beginning to see people walk the streets. So we have the farmers market up there on Saturdays now. We have a lot of events. We have the Pottery Festival, the Arts Festival. Concerts are taking place now on a couple of months, taking place up there. So it's developing very much a community feel that people can get together in the town of Standardsville, no matter what part of Greene you live or where you live at. You come to the town of Standardsville and you get that community, small town feel. And I know we've got a lot of areas in Standardsville that are just ripe for development of some type.
So that's the county seat also, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
What can we do about getting tourism dollars to Greene?
To be honest with you, I am all for tourism in Greene. I want people to come to Greene, I want people to spend their money in Greene, and then go home. So that is one of the things that I'm all for. We have a number of Airbnbs in Greene County. Of course, we had the glamping proposal that came before Greene in April. That was voted down 4-1. I voted for that project. I feel like it was a good project. I understand why some people were against it, but I think that I've been very beneficial to Greene to have that project in Greene County.
So for the few folks who do not know what glamping is, you might want to explain that real quick.
It's a high-end camping. It's for people who want to go camping in the wilderness, but who really don't want to have a tent and
It's like
and
luxury
rough it.
camping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Greene, we advertise ourselves as the gateway to the Blue Ridge. And if we want to keep Standardsville and the western part of our community rural in nature, we've got to find a way to bring industry into Greene that has no negative impact on that beauty. And what's the best way to do it is by tourism. If you try to rely on housing, so for example, if you want businesses to come in, if you want retailers to come in, they have a certain number they need to qualify before they open a business up. So you got to raise the number of homes and the number of residents. That's always a negative impact on your tax revenue because now you've got an expense to maintain the fire and safety services, the school environment. And then when the businesses come in, you begin to equalize, and you might pass that point and bring additional revenue in, but it's a repeating cycle. Tourism is where you develop something, people come in, they spend money and they leave, and does not have a negative impact on your infrastructure. And we were talking about Mr. Rutherford earlier. Hopefully he's listening. Nelson does it right. I will give them credit. I'm not saying that Mr. Rutherford did it right. I'm just saying Nelson did it right.
He'll take full credit for it.
I know he will.
He's talking about the Honorable Jesse Rutherford, Board of
He'll take full
Supervisor
credit
in
for
Nelson
it, by the
County.
way.
But
Two honorable gentlemen on this set. Two are non-honorable. Guess which two are non-honorable. They're at the head of the
Do
table.
not talk
over
about Judah like that.
Sorry.
Well, another point about tourism, we do have a very successful tourism operation with Lydia Mountain Lodge. Beautiful facility, and they are coming forward to the Planning Commission in July asking to expand the number of cabins, add a pool for guests. So it's a operation that's already in existence. The density doesn't increase very much, and it adds a lot more opportunity because all of their cabins are booked virtually every weekend.
So I didn't get a chance to check this percentage. Do either one of you gentlemen or Neil know what the percentage of your tax base comes from residential? I know in our county, Fluvanna County is 96. You guys know? Neil will probably chime in with it at some point and correct.
Neil knows that it's relatively large. It's surprisingly a little more balanced in Greene the last time that Neil published it between residential and commercial than one would expect in comparison.
I think it's
to some of the
grown, isn't
counties.
it? It's been growing, right?
It is. The commercial's been growing.
Residential percentage has been dropping in the commercial, the
Correct.
business portion.
It's
And-
still nowhere near the ratio that you'd like to see,
So what is that perfect ratio in your mind?
I believe they recommend 65-35 is a goal.
Yeah, somewhere between 30 and 35%. But how many people actually really achieved entity?
many.
Not very many do that.
How's housing affordability doing?
Oh, there
in
you go.
Greene?
You want me to address it? You want to take a shot at that?
I think we have the same issue in Greene County that we do everywhere else. Well, you just told us $341,000 is the
That's the
median
sale.
home.
That's the sale. The sale price is I rounded it up. It's 345 year to date. That's as of January 1 to today.
So that's the median price, which is the middle of price of
It
homes
takes the
sold.
high and the low out.
That doesn't show you the fact that there are very few homes in the $200,000 range that
So
ever
would
come on the
you want to
market.
take a gamble? I ran the numbers this morning. You have, whenever I do this, I always drop new construction out because it really skews the numbers from days on markets and everything like that. Would you take a gamble of how many units that you have available for sale in Greene County, as it stands right now, active, no new construction? How many you have, and what do you think the lowest price is? Guess, guys.
Active listings? All single-family detached?
Single-family
or-
detached, no.
You guys don't have much attached inventory in Greene, do you?
We have
No.
You're about ready to
three
get some.
apartment complexes.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
quite a few townhouses coming online.
Yeah, so apartments, as you know, doesn't kind of count in this attached,
Like for
so
sale,
it's like a
yeah.
townhome kind of thing. You're about ready to have some, but at the moment, just single-family detached. You're not going to find it in
Well,
cars
I'll
number.
take a stab.
I'm trying to get a good guess
I'm
here.
trying
to get a good guess.
I'm trying to pay you back for the
Lowest-
little wisecrack you did when you
Keith,
first.
you love that.
okay.
He's looking at his folder.
Lowest cost house.
Put the folder away
I'm
there,
trying to get a
Dale.
little.
Put the folder away,
I'm trying to get a
Dale.
good guess. I don't know.
Let me put
I
it.
would say-
It's.
$215 for the lowest cost.
Oh, you're not even close.
No?
Oh, it's more than that?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to say about 285 for the cost and probably about 84 in listing.
So you've got 13 homes for sale right now, single-family detached in Greene County, active.
Just 13, okay.
There's 13, no new constructions. They got to drop
Okay,
that all,
yeah, all right.
drop that all out of it. And the lowest number is, drum roll, 387.
Wow.
What's the highest?
You'd ask me that. Hold on a second. Give me a second. In the fives, 530, 540, 550.
So obviously, the housing shortage in Charlottesville and Albemarle is very much impacting Greene, like it's impacted Fluvanna, like it's impacted Zion's Crossroads and Louisa and Gordonsville. What's the feedback you're getting from constituents, from locals, about what's happening with housing and how expensive it's getting?
You know, we don't hear a lot of complaints from the constituents as far as how expensive it's getting for housing because most of the people that would be complaining already have homes.
Right.
And so what they complain about is their reassessed value that goes up and the taxes would increase. One of the things I don't think people realize is that the inventory has an impact on affordable housing.
Sure does.
The lack of inventory generates an inflated price in the homes. And I can remember a conversation during a board meeting where we were looking at a development that was going to have 600 homes. And I said that would help with the affordable housing. And the comment was, these houses aren't affordable. But there's a misconception that the inventory has no impact on affordable housing, and it does. The more inventory you have, the prices begin to regulate, and you can have more affordable housing. So I think, you know, the impact or the comments we hear from constituents would be that the tax rate would go up based upon the value of the home. And also, oftentimes when new development is ready to come online, we may hear from constituents who are arguing against the development because they don't want to see any more growth in Greene County.
So I've and Dale's been part of this, and I've changed my conversation from affordable housing to housing affordability. I think it's a little easier for folks to understand and explain it. I want to get to the education component here in a few minutes on that end of it. But I've been asking all the elected officials end of it that's been sitting here joining us, are we in a housing affordability crisis,
Great
emergency, right? And it's amazing how different folks are answering that in different ways than I would expect. So what do you think, guys?
I'm going to say, I think we are. I think we're in a situation, now other parts of the country are in a different situation than we are. But if you look in this area, we're pricing homes out of reach of our most important community members. You look at the teachers.
Fire and rescue.
Fire and rescue, and that's
Yeah.
the Greens going to be addressing pretty soon, the paid fire and rescue service. So they can't afford oftentimes to purchase a home in an area in which they live. So what do? How do you make it more affordable to bring in the people you need? So yeah, to be honest with you, I think we are. I think, as somebody who's now 60, who looks at retirement in 2 to 5 years, if I want to sell my house to move elsewhere, where am I going to move to that I can find a house that I can either break even or afford? And even if I look at a smaller home, because I had the kids, I have one child stay at home, the rest are not. In a smaller home, the price is going to be as much as I sell my home for. And that's somebody who already has a home. So I feel bad for those first-time home buyers.
Well, we struggle with that all the time, but I know a couple of really good real estate agents, so when you're ready, give me a call. And see what
We'll give you a call.
You didn't think I was going to slide that in, huh, on that stuff? So, look, and I'll let you guys jump in, but Dale, it's probably a question more focused towards you. So, folks that oppose new developments, right? It's usually traffic, infrastructures. One of them is the impact on schools. Right. So I know Nelson County is unique because Nelson County actually has a decreasing school population, which is very, it's not the norm. How are we prepped as far as a school system, because that's the hat you wear every day, right? To handle all the work Jim's going to get here? Well,
we know that, and there's a time coming we'll need another elementary school. We know that area is going to be Ruckersville Elementary, in Ruckersville area. So we have a Ruckersville Elementary School now. We know that in the future we're going to need another elementary school, and we know that the way growth is taking place is going to be in the Ruckersville area. As a matter of fact, the one development that came forward was proffering property for a elementary school, was proffering 17 acres. That did not get approved, but the chair of the school board came before the Board of Supervisors saying that's where the growth is taking place. That's where we will need another elementary school. And the comment he made was, it's on the right side of 29. And there's two ways to look at that. It was actually on the eastern side of 29, and that's where our growth is taking place. So we know we're going to need another elementary school going forward. Our high school, middle school, we just finished our project back pre-COVID. We actually had a groundbreaking October 2019. COVID hit in March 2020. So we've actually been through 1 full year of using the new facilities. It was designed to add on later at a reduced cost to the citizens. It's very well thought out so that we're preparing ourselves for growth going forward in the school environment. In our environment, we know that schools are going to grow. We know the population is going to grow. We know we've got to be prepared for that time frame. And it's cheaper to build an elementary school than it is to build another high school. And so the schools and the Board of Supervisors are already looking forward 10 years down the road as part of our plan. What are we trying to do? What are we going to try to accomplish?
Good answer.
Anything from the feed there, Joe?
Yeah, there's a lot. Transportation is a question that's on the feed right now, and I'll read it verbatim from Gwendolyn, who's watching the program. She's asking how transportation talks are progressing with creating a more improved transportation system that's multi-jurisdictional. And seamless with getting folks around. She's also, Keith, as you know, a big proponent of the tiny house movement, and I believe she's doing an effort out there. But here's the question specifically. Please discuss transportation plans. Will there be any type of commuter, rideshare, bus to Charlottesville?
You want Dre to address it?
You can.
Jim's being unusually quiet, so I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm waiting for the zingers to come out here. You're just really quiet, Jim.
Transportation's a very important part.
I'm getting nervous, to be honest with you.
I am too.
Wait for Dale to take a breath.
Transportation
He's a politician, right?
Is actually very important. Jaunt, for example, came before our board, and there was a disagreement. We had a lot of complaints concerning the Jaunt interaction. A lot of riders were not being picked up. They get calls, they told them, we can't pick you up, we can't take you there. It was brought up at a board meeting, myself and Supervisor Bowman, we had met with the CEO of Jaunt, and I met with him 2 or 3 times after that. We developed a plan to have an MOU between Greene County and Jaunt to fully fund them this year. The original recommendation was not to fully fund them. Jaunt said we need fully funding in order to do what we want to do. That was a we came to an agreement, we worked through it, we came to an approval process, the MOUs come for the Board of Supervisors, it's going to be approved, and we need that regional transportation system because that will help Greene County citizens get to Charlottesville, get to Culpeper, get to Buckingham, and John is a regional system. So the goal is to develop a partnership with Jaunt so there's better communication between Jaunt and Greene County so we can figure out how can we help Jaunt grow, which in turn will help Greene County grow as well. And so we are definitely working toward that goal. Now, as far as other transportation methods, Greene is very lacking in a bike pedestrian trails. That we have, I always joke around, we have a bike path. When it was built next to Sheets, everybody came to see it, and that 100 feet of bike path right there, you know, people come by and just look at it. That's the only bike path.
Well, you just
have in
watch
Greene.
Jim go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth,
So
back and
we
forth. on his
are
bike.
lacking in there. But yeah, so that's what we're doing as far as our regional transportation system. And I'll let Jim chime in since he's been quiet over there.
As far as, well, I'll just say Jaunt has been successful, I think, in improving transit in other communities. They took over in Greene right when COVID hit, and simultaneously when they had some leadership issues in Jaunt, I believe that they have a lot of room for improvement and will improve the service in Greene.
Ted Reek is doing that.
Yes,
The new
correct.
CEO of Jaunt.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show.
We've had him.
He's looking to stabilize leadership with Jaunt. We talked about a uniform brand for the region, where it was a transportation brand, where all these splintered services, and you got UTS, you got UVA, you got CAT, you got Jaunt. Do you ever see an opportunity to have a uniform transportation brand for Central Virginia, one entity?
It would be nice if that happens. I know that the Greene County Transit was also one element of that, and that's been brought over into Jaunt area. Will you see CAT go away? Will you see VA Transit Service go away? I would say probably not. I don't have, I really
Yeah,
can't.
it seems to be going on the track that they're going to work under some sort of like MOA,
Right.
mutual agreement of some sort that, which of course, every time you get multiple entities together to try to do one thing, it gets a little complicated. And
Yeah.
Jerry's thinking of, one new fresh entity kind of makes sense from a business perspective. But I think from a political perspective, more than likely it's going to be different entities working onto some sort of agreement. So, Jim, in Fluvanna County anyway, there's a huge percentage of our county, particularly Lake Monticello, which is 40-some-odd% of the county, come into Charlottesville to work. How does that look in Greene County?
65% of our population leaves the county for work. It comes to Albemarle, Charlottesville. So
Who's the
it's
largest employer in
Huge
Greene?
out commute.
Is it the county?
The county is the largest
Yeah.
employer.
Who's the second?
I believe Walmart is the second largest employer.
So 65% come into Charlottesville, so hence the transportation question, which was spot on.
Yeah.
Right, so we're about ready, I mean, let's kind of face it here. Greene County is kind of where the development's going to go. It's
Yeah.
Right, you're going to get increased in rooftops and this partnership probably needs to get tempoed up a little bit so folks can get back and forth, because I don't know how you all feel about it, but we've been talking about this, that I think we're kind of get to more of a hybrid, right? You're kind of seeing a little bit less at home work and a little bit more in the office. Are you seeing that in Greene
Absolutely.
County?
We are, absolutely. And I think that the transit is a pretty easy solution because we literally can come from Standardsville to Ruckersville to Hollymead.
Right.
And then we're in the regional system.
Right.
And you could have a few of those a day in the commuter hours and solve transportation for a lot of
That's
people.
the reason why I think Standardsville is going to be really, really quick. You can get on that bypass pretty darn quickly, get to 229, pretty darn quickly, and get in. The traffic, depending on the time of the day, could be a bit nutty, but
And it'll be helpful. We have 120 apartment independent living senior for middle-class seniors, not
yeah. So
starting, the site plan came in yesterday.
so that's already zoned. Site plan
Zoned
means
and
it's going to
approved.
happen.
The site plan, yes, there.
So can you tell me who the applicant is at this point, since you received it?
Trying to think, it's Maryland Development, it's.
Was it the
development-
Methodist Church?
No, it's the same company that built 2 or 3 of these type units in Culpeper.
Dale, I've got to ask this question. My county just rejected one from a rezoning perspective. Same exact setup. 55 and over, 50 to 60% area medium income.
There's a huge need for it in this region.
I just don't understand the no vote. And I'm looking for some answers here.
What was the reason with the no votes?
I don't know.
Was Fairchild a no?
Fairchild was a no. Yeah, Fairchild was a no. I think it was a 3-2 split. I think it was. I'd have to double check. I don't.
Our board went 4-1
I'm
for
trying to
it.
remember 4-1 or 3-2. There was opposition to it when it came before us, and that's about 2 years ago.
Correct.
I think it was 2 years ago it
I
came
don't
before us.
understand the opposition. We're not increasing schools.
The,
Right.
the opposition we heard, or I heard in this situation, was the fact that you're going to have older people pulling on 229. That was a comment. In fact, your department actually filmed traffic coming down time, the interval between cars. That was what the Planning
Correct.
Commission brought forward, because I think the Planning Commission didn't pass it 5-0 either.
No. 3-2 at the planning commission.
Yeah,
also.
and I think their biggest gripe was the traffic on 29 and the speeds of the cars on 29 and the exit of going on 29. So a lot of people are against increasing density, no matter what type of density it is. So you hear some of that. I can't tell you why Fluvanna would vote it down,
Yeah,
because to me, 55 and older, there's no impact on schools.
Right.
Um,
It opens
Traffic.
up housing stock.
Yeah.
Because you'd have empty nesters.
Well, that was
leaving their houses.
Right.
That was my argument
Yeah.
for the pro end of it. I just didn't quite get it. The
There's a-
traffic comment was that's the first time I ever heard that.
But that was just unique. That was actually on 29, and 29 for Greene County is a high traffic area. So the comment has some validity to it. You know, traffic's going 55, 60 miles an hour, and you've got somebody who
don't
has a certain line
don't you have like a traffic light?
not right there, but about a half mile up the road at Sheets.
We do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of improvements that are being planned on the 29 corridor that'll help with traffic and the throughput. One of the proffers for that development, circling back, is a bus stop for
Yeah.
transportation. It is literally across the street. There's an opportunity for people to be able to get to the shopping center, which will help the shopping center directly across the street with the Dunkin' Donuts and the Holiday Inn. And so it's a great opportunity, and it's a desperate need in the community.
So I think at
The
this
regional community.
at this table, I think we all can agree. I think we're in agreement. The crisis is maybe a strong word, but we're having a housing affordability
Right.
I
problem.
think it's a
Well, I'll
crisis.
make a
Yeah.
quick
I think it's a
point.
crisis.
Dale just pointed out that a lot of people are against, for whatever reason, against growth. Our community comprehensive plan, the number one goal is to keep the rural area rural, to
Sure.
keep the beauty of the rural area. So we have a growth corridor, and it's along the 29 corridor. That's where the infrastructure is, that's where the transportation network is. And if you say no to the growth corridor, and I know you've had this topic on your show a lot.
Yeah.
If you say, no, I don't want new growth in the
Where's it
growth
gonna go?
area, that growth is
Yeah.
going to go in the rural area, and you end up with
Sprawl.
sprawl, more traffic issues,
Yeah.
more problems, less beauty, less rural area.
Well, and the costs go up.
We saw that in Fluvanna.
Yeah, and I love my county to death. I've been there since 1987, and I don't want to get run out on a rail from the county, but I just didn't understand it. My parents are a prime example. They're in the twilight of their years. They love the area that they're at. If there was a place that they could go to that was a little 2-bedroom unit, we could have sold their home, cashed out. The market is good, so we would have created inventory. Right? They would have stayed in the community, and I just don't quite get it.
I know that there's a new studies are showing that the homes that are mixed residential, meaning that they have 55 and older communities in areas with younger families, are selling better, and that the people are healthier and happier in those homes. That's what was brought up to us in one proposal that came before us not too long ago. They're trying to rezone some 600 homes from 55 and older to 600 homes normal residential.
So was that a actual age restricted project, or was it an
Currently,
age target?
It is now.
It is currently age restricted to 55 and older, period. The proposal
So you might want to
was
talk about the difference on that.
Right. So by the rezoning, and it's allowed in the state code, you can restrict to 55 and older communities. And most places do an 80-20 split. That's the way the state code has two sections. In green, when they put that in, it's a 100% 55 and older. The developer that came forward wanted to make that a senior targeted development. And the other developments that they've created in the past usually trend around 70% senior, 65 to 80% senior with mixed families. And they market both types. They have a harder time selling senior only because people are realizing when everybody's 55 and older and the average age is 80, you're going to a funeral every week, you don't have kids to mow your grass, you don't have cute kids walking in strollers, and it's not the same kind of community.
So I actually developed the first 55 and over project myself about 100 years ago here in the area, and I think in history that's what happened. It's very difficult from a sales side, from a real estate side of it, to sell 55 and over because it really limits who you can buy, and it becomes an issue with heirs and all different kind of
I didn't realize you'd been 55 and older that long.
Nice job, Jim.
There you go. That's the Jim we know and love.
I've been waiting, Jim. You've been super quiet.
I will
It's like
circle back one thing. Ruckersville is
You're actually
another
trying to be
area.
like really professional and everything.
I
doing a great
I don't know
job.
what to do.
Some
I'm
of
sitting
my
here-
friends are surprised when I wear big boy pants.
I only put like a half a dozen bullet points because I figured I'd be defending myself half of the show today.
One other point, Ruckersville is also an area of growth in green, and we are slowly working on changing our zoning. We've got 3 webinar that you can go to the Greene County Planning or Greene County Initiatives, look at the zoning audit webinars where we talk about how we want to move from traditional squares of Euclidean zoning where you can only have a shoe store in this square and you have to be 25 feet away from anything else to form-based zoning. And
Got
a
it.
key criteria from our small area plan for Ruckersville, the leadership of our board, is that we want to make Ruckersville a community. And to do that, we need interconnectivity for pedestrian access, for automobiles, we need sense of space, so we're looking for much more limited zoning as long as you create that community. If your project creates that community, it'll be a pretty easy buy right thing. We're looking at
Let me make
live,
sure-
work, play concept, so you would have maybe a 70-30 commercial residential requirement, and if you drop that to 20% residential, we'll give you a much higher density.
So you're trying to do what Charlottesville's doing is with their FLUM future land use map. You're actually creating upzoning. Thank you. Creating new zoning ordinances within the growth area, so it's a by right. I don't have to go to, with all due respect, we don't have to go to Dale to get approval, because you know how difficult he is. And then we just come straight to you, which is going to be even worse. But I'm only...
No,
I'm
true.
only-
If you meet the basic community building,
So where are we at in that path?
we've collected information from stakeholders. We have the concepts of how we want to arrange it. We need to sketch it out and have some more public hearings on it to start really fine-tuning the ordinance. And it's a challenge. Personally, I think what I've seen, this is really form-based zoning. It's kind of a catch-all.
You might want to explain what that is, what form-based.
Form-based zoning changes the focus from deciding what the use is and having restrictions for every use. So, like, again, it can't, if it's a shoe store, it can go on this lot. If it's a tire store, it has to go on that lot. The two can't mix. They have to be separated from each other a certain way. A residential operation can't go there because it's supposed to be a shoe store.
Got it.
And it creates spaces where you have to drive in between. They're not connected. The uses aren't connected. They don't flow together. In essence, it creates Ruckersville, which built up as needed in a bunch of small squares of different things that were necessary at the time but don't flow together.
Got it.
So form-based zoning is talking about the form of the community, the form of the design of the community.
And that starts with Dale's comprehensive plan, right?
Yes.
Right. So this is what you guys are in the middle of doing, redoing your comprehensive plan, your land use plans. And I don't want to get too geeked out on the planning side of it, but when do you I asked this for a very specific question. I have a bet with Neil. And when do you think, not about Greene County, about Charlottesville, when do you guys
Are
think?
you about to make a bet here?
I'm not going to make a bet.
Okay.
Maybe.
Miss Smith is watching.
Mrs. Smith
Literally,
is
she's watching.
Yeah. So when do you think you guys might get this done? This is
The
huge. This is
comprehensive plan or the
well,
zoning?
as everybody who watches the show, everybody knows the comprehensive plan is a non-obligatory document, right? This is our vision. The zoning ordinance is what really makes a difference. So when do you think that might happen?
We're working on it. I think it'd be at least 6 months to get it to a document that's ready for the board to review.
It'll go to your planning commission first, right?
Correct.
Right, then to Dale's board.
So, and we'll have community workshops. I think that a lot of the examples that are out there, if you look up form-based zoning, you'll see the same document for every community.
Yeah,
and we don't want that for Greene. So it's a little more challenging that we're trying to do it with our 3-person staff, because we want it to be Greene specific and make sense for Greene, as opposed to just paying somebody $70,000, $100,000 to do a cookie cutter thing that I can just print offline.
So the reason I bring it up here is it looks like Charlottesville might have its rezoning somewhere June 2023. He's laughing because this is the
You're going to
bet.
shave your stash on this show.
I think
That's the bet he has with Williamson.
Yeah, have you guys not heard about this?
No, I have not, but obviously, what day is that show airing?
It's going to air in June of next year.
Yeah,
He's
well,
gonna be shaving his
I
stash.
can't remember the date. I believe it was June 19th or something, somewhere mid to late
We'll come
June.
inside and watch.
Yeah,
Well,
please do.
and-
we'll let you in.
and-
I appreciate that.
I've bet Neil that the city council would not adopt it before then, and if I lose, I've had this mustache on since 1985.
You shave it.
I have to shave it off
Yeah.
on that end.
In fact, Neil is shaving it for you.
No.
I think we did say that. We did say that.
You may have said it, but I
That
did
sounds
not
like
agree
a
to that.
completely different type of
It
show.
sounds like something.
Completely less scary. There is no SEC rules here, by the way, so, there's
That was funny.
There's
That was good.
Hey, I've been waiting for you to show up, man.
That was really funny.
You want a sip of coffee or something?
We have a lot of questions from viewers and listeners here. This is from Kelsey, who's watching. Can you ask the panel if the University of Virginia is doing anything in Greene County?
We would love for the University of Virginia to come. The planning director will make it as easy as possible.
Okay, there we go.
Well done.
Yeah, it was beautiful. This question's coming about economic development. What is keeping a larger employer from setting up a headquarters or a satellite campus or office in Greene County right now? That's from Grayson.
Probably the question about water. Would you agree with that?
No, the water
space?
question's resolved,
Okay.
and it, honestly, infrastructure, there's no interstate in Greene County. It has the advantage of being at the crossroads of 29 and 33. Greene County is one of the smallest landmass counties in the state. A third of it is mountain, so we don't have large parcels. We have very few large parcels, and the large parcels aren't contiguous to the infrastructure. So there's limits, and we are interested, excited, and welcome anyone, but they're going to have to want to be in Greene County because, there's Louisa is a county that has an interstate that run through it, and it's flat with pine trees and sand. So there's lots of open space. It's easy to build there. Greene is up and down, and it doesn't have an interstate, and the parcels are small. So it's a unique place. It's a great opportunity for the business that it fits. And again, we'll work with anybody we can that wants to come and bring jobs to Greene.
So the Zions Crossroads area, the pushback that I'm hearing from larger business, this is what I hear. This is not an official county perspective. This is what I hear from my world and my commercial and residential business, is they don't move here. Well, the water and sewer is pretty typical conversation. It's not enough rooftops. Where are my employers, where are my employees, going to live, right? And so that is the struggle in Zions Crossroads for it. So that's the reason why you see a lot of retail, right? A lot of, 64 stop kind of food stops, so forth and so on. But you're not really seeing large 100, 200, 300 employers because they just don't know where to put them, right? Where do you put your employees?
Our town center that's being developed currently has attracted, for the first time, larger employers through the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. because of that exact reason. It has a live, work, play concept. So the employers aren't as concerned because their employees can literally live on campus and walk to work. And that makes it much
So
more
that helps that
attractive.
percentage of people leaving, right, obviously, out
It
that
does.
way.
And
I think,
it brings to Green something we've never had before. So we're literally, instead of being somebody that just gets an email from the state, they actually talk to us now.
so that's going to be, help your tax base, right?
It will.
Amazingly.
On that stuff, so that's great. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is on personal property taxes. With
Okay.
the used car market out of control, what did the county do to alleviate tax burdens associated with personal property?
Right now, what we're doing is we're evaluating, the question came up during our board meetings and during the budget hearings. The tax rate was passed as it was previously in the past years, and right now, we're trying to look at what can be done to rectify that situation. Bottom line is, what we're seeing, which everybody knew to a certain extent, we didn't know how much it would impact our residents. The bottom line is that the value of used cars has jumped considerably. So people are paying quite a bit more. My tax bill, to be honest with you, I'm paying about $2,000. I've got a vehicle I bought in 2021, and it's a $2,000 tax bill on that vehicle. So what we're trying to do is, we were not 100% sure of what the revenue coming in from personal property tax would be, and we had made a budget based on history, past history. So with the increased revenue, we're trying to see what can we do to take some of that burden off of the citizens. So there's no relief coming for June. We're hopeful that with the December December bill, right before Christmas, hopefully we can do something there. There's no guarantees that we can.
So what do you
Now-
mean, like adjusted?
Well, adjust it or a rebate. For example, I know the treasurer and commissioner of revenue, I've talked to them frequently. They're at the last board meeting, and they're working very hard to try to find a resolution. They're working with the county administrator on trying to find a resolution. One of the things that we were not attempting to do, we were not trying to increase our revenue at the expense of the citizens. We were not trying, it was not in the budget to increase the revenue using personal property tax. We had a certain budget amount. That's what the budget was based on.
Well, it's been like that forever, right? This is a
Yep.
unique situation, right?
It is. It's a one-off situation, hopefully we'll never see again. People are asking about the real estate market. That is different. The real estate market, you've got equalization as part of the process. So when it comes before the board, if the real estate values go up, you can equalize that tax rate right before the board. For us right now, it's a 2-year process. And then the citizens have an appeals process they can go through for that as well. With the cars, I think the question was made, or a comment was made, this has been going on like this for generations. Like, it's the first time we've had used cars go up in value.
Right.
Well, they depreciate typically,
Yeah.
and I've actually got a 20-year real estate appreciation year over spreadsheet for Greene County. I put it together this morning. In the last 10 years, your average appreciation is about 4.6%, right? Believe it or not, over 20 years, it's almost 8%. Now, the number's jumping from 153 to 345, and that's a lot of it. And there's a few years in the middle that, in the time of great unpleasantness, there was negative numbers. But my personal truck, my 2017 truck, right now in Fluvanna County, my tax assessment is more than what I bought it in 2017.
Wow, that's in Fluvanna County?
Yep.
So-
My tax value on my truck is more, that I got 75,000 miles on it than when I bought it in 2017.
My wife's car is 2013. I think it went up in value $3,000 or $4,000. I think that's going across the country. It's not just across Virginia or Greene or Fluvanna.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you're going to be looking at it because it will go the other way.
It will.
Right? Once chip problem is solved, yada, 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 it's going to go the other way.
Yeah, and so what you got to be careful about is whatever you do now, chances are in next year, I'm hoping things are normal next year, although I said the same thing last year, the value should drop back down to a normal rate.
Well, we've been talking about this for a while. I think this personal property is kind of the bubble in the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real, that nobody really seems to be talking about.
MJR Cat is watching. She says she's got a couple of comments. She's a Greene County resident, her family as well. She said Jack Shop's Kitchen just opened an ice cream counter, which is lovely and much needed for this community. She has this question: as a Greene County resident, I would like to know why we are not a pro-rating county. I have to pay for a vehicle I sold in February for the entire year, and the bills are staggering, $1,600 in June and again in December for our family.
And what she's referring to is that if you own a vehicle January 1st, the way it's set up that you had to pay for taxes throughout that year. I don't know when that was set in place. You were on the board for a while. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It hit me the same way. So, I mean, I understand what she's referring to, because if you have a vehicle and you sell it in February, then you pay for taxes on it for the entire year, and it's not prorated thereafter. And that's just the way it's set up. And I don't know, actually, if there's a specific reason for that. Do you know?
I do not. It's been that way for the 30 years I've been in Greene County. I actually think, if everybody remembers about the separation of powers in
Right.
Virginia, I think that's actually a treasurer's policy.
So
And I'm not trying to throw the treasurer under the bus. I'm just saying I think that is the office
a good
that
question.
has the responsibility for setting that policy.
So
It's a
that's
very good
important to
question,
talk
though.
about, Jim. For those who've been watching and listening are not from the state of Virginia, right? We have quite a few of that. Explain that a little bit. The treasurer
And
is...
it's been an awful long time since they took 7th grade civics, too. In
I
the
thought you were referring
tradition,
to how long it took me to graduate
Oh.
7th grade. So I'm sorry.
Keith
I didn't realize. Congratulations.
I didn't
Was it
say
civics?
that. No. I'm just lying. I didn't quite make it that far. But anyway.
Our friend Neil claims that I'm an 8th grader.
Come on now.
Neil's being
In
generous.
Virginia,
And that's probably offending 8th graders.
probably so.
That's a Neil's being generous.
With our, the most county governments in Virginia, the form of government, majority of the positions that people count on are elected, and the only overview is the election. So we've had this conversation, you and I, Keith. Jerry, you're a smart guy. You got people on your show all the time. Explain to me the difference in the job between the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer.
Ooh, I missed that in 7th grade civics.
So neither of those people report to the Board of Supervisors.
That's exactly right.
Neither of them are controlled or under the authority of the Board of Supervisors. They are only under the authority of the voters. And we've just shown well-informed people don't even know what they do. Oftentimes, there's one person that runs for the office. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great people that do it. But before I worked in county government, I voted because I recognize the name. That person's been doing it. They must be doing a good job. And unless you have a tax problem, unless you have, you've been arrested by the sheriff, you just assume all these people are doing a great job and you reelect them.
And these two different elected officials sometimes conflict in their,
Correct.
in their opinion on how to do something. But at the end of the day, Dale controls the right. Dale controls their budget, right?
We control their budget for
Like the school
county,
system.
Right, yeah, so we could have some control over that, but we'd have no control over what they do in the
Operationally.
office, right? And so, there was a push last year trying to get MOU between Constitution officers and the county, and we did not go through with that. We may look at that again in the future. But yes, I mean, right now, I think our Constitution officers in Greene and Greene County government, they all are working well together, in my opinion. We've had some situations in the past where that wasn't the case. But right now, we kind of laugh at those situations and we're all working well together. But that was a great question.
But so to get out there, who actually does the assessments for your county?
The property assessments are done by a third-party firm, a mass appraisal firm.
But who engages that? Is it the county engages that, or is it one of these elected officials that engage?
The board actually just had a resolution the other day to hire
Got
a
it.
firm, the
Are you talking-
lowest bidder firm, to do a mass assessment.
Real estate or personal?
Real estate.
Real estate, okay, that's, yeah.
Personal is,
NADA, yeah.
yeah, correct. So anyway, it's just important, and then to throw back out there, I know Dale's in the school system, and folks that, again, who are watching this that are not from the state of Virginia, there's two separate boards, right? There's the school board, and then there's the Board of Supervisors, and the school board depends upon you to give money, but it's operationally completely different, so that's why there's sometimes of a disconnect between what the school board is thinking and what your board is thinking.
I'll get to one more question. We're trying to get to as many of these as possible, guys, here at just before 11:30 on a Friday here. Gwendolyn, for you two gentlemen. When meeting with Steve Borders and Stephanie, is it Golan, several years ago, they both suggested that I do my small home concept international villas on land zone recreational. What percentage of land in Greene is zoned recreational? What percentage of total size is Shenandoah Park?
Shenandoah Park and the National Forest are about a third of the county. I don't know the exact acreage. And there is no recreational zoning in Greene County. So I think maybe the understanding there is that through our tourist lodging, we allow through special use someone to request a number of units on a particular parcel. That's the only option we have currently. We have some unique ideas that we want to try and consider, some clustering regulations that would allow for tiny home communities, but those are just in the infant stage.
One last question, because I like this one here. When is Greene County going to get a brewery?
Ooh.
Well, we have, don't we, on the 2933?
We do have a brewery.
Yeah.
Octonia Stone Brewery
Yeah.
is currently located on 29 and 33. I think the fact that Greene County is in control of the water will help with some potential
Right.
larger breweries. We have a few people that are proposing brewery/wineries out. The old Autumn Hill Winery is considering that. You mentioned ice cream earlier, we are getting a move-through.
I saw that.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
sweet.
I'm a lover of sweet. Oh, jeez.
It's going to do well. Green's primed to boom, man. You guys are in the catbird seat over there in Greene County.
I got to tell you, Standardsville is going to grow a lot faster than everybody thinks it's going to grow,
Yeah.
and I think you guys are going to get your rewrite of your zoning ordinance long before everybody else does.
I'm curious to see how the politics in Greene change as folks that are millennial and younger are getting priced out of Charlottesville and Albemarle, and they're sprinting to Greene and Fluvanna and Waynesboro. And that's going to change the politics and the dynamic of these counties.
So
My friends, my younger brother, we're looking at Waynesboro and Greene and Zion's Crossroads because folks can't afford Charlottesville and Albemarle County anymore.
Well, I actually ran some quick year-to-date numbers just to go ahead and do that. The median sales price in Charlottesville now, same thing, single-family detached, no new construction, is $456. Albemarle, $460. Fluvanna, $322. Nelson County, believe it or not, is up to around $500.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of large tracts of land.
Right, yeah.
In that, that's a little bit of a skewing factor. And if I would have done like just 5 acres and under, it would have been different. And Louise is up to 378. So Greene County is kind of Greene County and Fluvanna. If you're just taking a look at the price points right now, Fluvanna is number 1 as far as the lower, and you guys are number 2 as far as But we're over 3 no matter what.
Even at those levels, you have to earn more than the median family
Right.
income in the United States to be able to walk in the door.
Well, that was what we were talking about down there.
Charlottesville City is now 111,000 median
Well,
income.
so is Greene though.
Yeah.
So Greene, Fluvanna, Nelson.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Greene, right? So because we're all part of the MSA, is 111 something. I can't remember the two.
In Greene, we have a pretty big difference in the median income across the entire county drops quite a bit. Ruckersville is very high. Everything west of the center of Greene is considerably lower.
So those are HUD numbers, right? Used for housing affordability and all this great stuff. But I'm asked the question all the time. Oh my God, Greene, Fluvanna, 111. Well, how many people from your county drives into Charlottesville to work again? What's the number?
65.
65%.
Yeah.
There you go. Their salary is coming back that way. And that's the reason why the number's so high. Gentlemen, thank you. I really expected to get my head handed to me today.
This is a great show. You guys were great.
Maybe
You were
next
very
time.
well, Jim, you were very well behaved. I'm
like
going to
a
have
wrap.
to bring you back on because I was all prepped, man. I got up early and got prepped for some zingers.
How about a closing message from the both of you guys for the viewers and listeners on the future of Greene?
We're growing. It's a great place to live, a great place to have a business. It's a great place to bring your kids to school. So if you want to come to Greene, come to Greene. We welcome you, and I'm sure you can add to that.
I think the same message I started with in Greene County. You have property rights. If you have a good plan, we'll help you find a way to make it come true.
So
I love it. I love
I've been coining this term for quite some time, turning red tape into green tape. Seems like Greene County has figured out
Green
how
with an E.
has figured out how
Greene gets it.
I got my green pen. I think Greene County's figured out how to turn some of this red tape into green tape. So thank you guys.
Great show, guys.
Thanks, guys, for having us.
Great,
Appreciate it.
great show.
Thank you.
Real
Welcome back,
Talk
please.
with Keith Smith. The show is archived online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. All the shows there. We thank Yes Realty Partners and Keller Williams Alliance for being a part of the program. Judah Wickhauer for keeping us online, our director. I Love CVille show, guys, is up in 59 minutes. We will see you then. Take care. Good job.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
It was excellent.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. The audience is a